What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Welcome to another episode of American Gods After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. It is Season 1, Episode 4, Git Gone. We have so much to talk about. We got all the backstory on Laura Moon. It was awesome. This was, I think, so far my favorite episode of the entire show. I can't wait to break the whole thing down with you guys. We'll see you in just 1 second.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
You know, with those intros, I talk so fast. I was like, when in my life ever would I actually talk to someone that fast?
Because you're really excited. You're like, I need to tell you about the show.
If you were turning to a 15-year-old girl, all your friends really fast and no one would understand.
Next time I walk in the gym, I'll be like, hey, Kari, what's going on? Are you having pizza for dinner? God, I'm so excited to talk to you about the pizza we're eating right now. Let's get to the show. Yeah. That's
You're
like,
so excited.
Yeah, I'm jazzed. I'm jazzed. I'm amped. Where's Frank Moran? I'm amped. So, guys, we're here to break down the episode. You're gonna do a show with Frank Moran right after this, right?
I am.
Yeah, we all love Frank Moran.
We do.
I'm kind of obsessed with him, honestly. I'm a big fan. Guys, welcome to the American Gods After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. We're talking about American Gods, Season 1, Episode 4, titled Git Gone. We got so much backstory. This was like an actual linear episode of television.
It was.
It was crazy.
Very
It was different
from what we've seen so far. I looked over at Kari during the episode and was just like, this is such a departure from the first 3 episodes. Like, this is like just like a normal story of television.
Beginning, middle, end. Yep.
Wild stuff. Anyway, guys, we have a full panel. On the far side of the table, we guest panelist Joelle Monique. Welcome to the show.
Hi guys, I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique and every week at blackgirlnerds.com.
And she'll be our book expert this week because our book experts aren't here. So, yay!
Yay!
Kari and I can't read or write, so.
No, I just haven't gotten to it. I have it sitting at home, but I'm doing this film competition, so I've had like no time. So I'm like, yes, my name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's Karidlane, and you can see all the stuff I'm posting about this film competition thing. And we are live in the chat, so if you're watching this live, join us in the chat. And if you're watching it later, comment down below. You guys are fantastic about the comments. You guys have amazing insight and observation. That's just like, oh my gosh, you notice these things, and then it's great for us to see that. So thank you. Keep it up.
It's full. I can read or write, guys. My name is Ben Bateman. Here at AFTERBUZZ TV. Follow me at Ben Bateman Media on Twitter or Instagram. There's a lot to break down, and I really, really liked this episode. So continuing down the path we were just going a minute ago of our initial reactions, I just felt like I liked watching this story. I liked understanding their relationship prior to just where we start at the gravesite and the funeral. It's good storytelling, but it's also just like hard to understand like what their relationship really was. The picture of Laura Moon you get is definitely pretty villainous in that first episode. And I would still say kind of villainous after this episode, but more context. What'd you guys think about this episode?
I loved it because it's new and it's not in the book. And this has been one of my, I love the series so far. One small hang up is like it's so faithful to the book that it's like I'm keep waiting to be shocked or surprised. You get little moments here and there. Some things are out of order, but for the most part, it reads exactly like it would actually read.
Okay. I do have a quick question though.
Yeah.
Like, as an expert on the book, because you've read it many times, since this was new, how well do you feel it fits within it? Do you go, yes, I can understand this, or is it like out there?
It fits perfectly. In the book, you get a lot of like little touches of Laura. Laura is kind of there as like when Shadow is in like really depressed or really heightened states of emotion or physical contact. Laura shows up, and then he has to deal with his emotions regarding her. So she's kind of this, I don't want to say ancillary, but she's definitely just plays off of Shadow. Whereas here, she's like a full human being. She's a full person. And to get her backstory and understand who she is and why she's made a lot of the foolish decisions, it's a lot less of like, you cheating jerk, and a lot more like, this is a woman who maybe needs someone to talk to, and Shadow is not that person.
Yeah, I was unsure about her character as well at first. I was like, because I mean, the cheating thing sucked when we learned that line.
Right.
I was like, aw. But I think it was felt like they were a cute relationship before we learned that. So then it was more like we're like Shadow, we're blindsided. Like, wait a minute, but you loved each other. So in this though, I just was like, I was a little bit annoyed. Like, girl, what is your problem? Because she does have some issues, clearly.
Big time.
But
so manipulative. Oh, I hated that.
Yeah,
I tweeted this is the episode where I hate Laura Moon, and then at the end I was like, also love Laura Moon. So.
Yes, when she gets her scene later with Shadow and the tree, loved it. Yeah. I was like, okay, I think you've redeemed
really
yourself because it was so good.
Did she? I don't know. I still have so many issues with Laura, and I was watching a lot of you guys tweet on Twitter during the show. And it seems like a lot of you are also pretty peeved at Laura's behavior, especially because we know Shadow to be like such an honest, kind of upstanding gentleman at this point. He's always taking the rough road and the high road and making sure that everyone else is taken care of. He doesn't lose his temper too easily. He's like found a whole bunch of ways to manage all of his issues, and for you to just be so flippant with him, it's a little painful. It's a little painful to watch.
Chat room, many people are just like, her life felt mundane. She obviously has some depression issues.
Yeah.
She has some other issues like most people, and that was just her way of expressing it. But
but also by like ruining someone else's whole existence of happiness.
Well, in theory, they would have never known. She was ready to stop, too.
Yeah, but I don't believe a word she says because she
No.
So what I will say is that I think their depiction of Shadow is becoming more and more interesting.
Okay.
And this episode made me think about it even further. What you just said, that she needs someone to talk to, and he's not that guy, kind of makes you realize they cast Shadow a little bit to be like a big dumb piece of meat. A little bit to begin with.
It's he's described in the book.
He's like super jacked. He's like super pretty. He's got a thief skill set of like some kind of paltry card tricks. And as he starts to learn, like he goes away to prison and becomes this like learned guy, right? He reads 813 books is I think what he says. And so he leaves prison at actually pretty like intellectual, right? He's learned a lot. He's become a man of books. And but the way they depict him before is like Krav Maga, like I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna box, I'm jacked, like let's rob a bank, and like I'm happy, you know. Even the romantic notions that he's taking with her at the table there in that conversation, which are very sweet.
Yeah.
She's like, I want to do something interesting. I'm not happy, and he's like, I'm happy. I'll live in a box with you. It doesn't matter as long as I'm with you. You know, I think it's really interesting that they've decided to depict him in that way, because it gives some, I don't want to say credence to her attitude. But as you said, she needs something that he wasn't giving her. He was not giving to her the thing that she needed to feel fulfilled. Though I do think her attitude was incredibly selfish, which was just like, come on. It's like very reflective of like a millennial attitude.
The best friend said it kind of best when she was like, you didn't really love him. That's why you called him puppy. These are two people who are both like, as you say, Shadow doesn't have a lot of his own drive. He's not a driven person. He doesn't have gold. And look how easily he falls in with Wednesday.
Well, that's her line. His line to her in her reply. He's like, I'd be happy in a cardboard box. And she's like, that would be failure to me.
Yeah, absolutely. He just falls in with pretty much anybody who has a strong personality, and he's willing to kind of go with the flow in order to survive. Whereas she's kind of this person who has all of these big hopes and dreams, but no outlet or way to achieve them. And them together, they keep each other sedated, essentially.
Well, I think it's her fault that she's staying in the same job that she hates after 8 years. I'm like, you didn't try another one? Nothing?
Right.
You didn't try anything else to alleviate your boredom besides, oh, wait, let me screw my neighbor?
100%.
Well, friend.
I do want to clarify, guys. I did just say reflective of a millennial attitude. I'm a millennial, so just for the record, the like handout selfishness thing is like something that I am aware of the people in my generation experience. I'm not pointing the finger at anyone. I'm just saying like that is the way millennials are described, and that is, I think, an attitude I was seeing from her that was frustrating me. Go ahead.
Question for the book. People asked, does she see him as a golden ray of sun? Which I kind of wondered if that has to do with her coming back, because you guys all commented very well in the last video that the coin that from the leprechaun is the sun, and that's what she gets. So is that why she sees him as sun?
That's definitely the way it's shown here. In the book, it doesn't really go into how Laura views the world. And I love the way they did it, showing that same shot of when Shadow walked in and you see welcome back. I can't remember if Shadow or Puppy. This is welcome back, and then when you see hers, it's just that gray variant, like radiant, and I really like it. I thought it was effective.
Well, when she literally sees him, though, he's like glowing.
Yeah.
But is that in the book?
No, not really. The coin kind of glows, but yeah, I don't think that she sees him as
Did you guys find it interesting at all that this episode doesn't open in like an abstract gods reference? It has the gods reference because it's in the casino.
I love that. That was so fun.
Yeah, and you have I guess that's like Egyptian reference.
Look like Luxor.
Yeah, but yeah,
Egyptian gods.
But you didn't get a direct like weird throwback like they've been doing these first episodes.
You actually do, which is kind of cool. What's really cool about American Gods is it starts exploring the way that we worship in a non-devout way, and so casinos are super like holy relics, kind of, in that this is where people come. They spend a lot of money, they spend a lot of time, which we learned from media is a valuable currency to the gods, a lot of attention, and so this is people worshiping. These are gods. This is godlike energy flowing around there, which is really kind of cool.
But we don't see a god.
No, we don't see an actual god, but we do. Like, this is a place where gods will be.
Okay.
Unless we did see a god, and Shadow is actually a god, and we're finding that out.
We've wondered that.
Which, like, we have someone on the panel here who's, like, pretty much totally knowledgeable. So I should just point out for everybody listening, by the way, the way we do this with spoilers is that if there is somebody on the panel that knows explicitly something from the book, we don't go heavily into spoilers. We stay kind of vague about them until the very end of the episode. So if there is an answer to that question,
I would never
do not
spoil
feel
anything.
the need to answer it correctly. But I did think that was interesting. It made me think, is Laura Moon a god? That's the first person we're seeing in the scene. Is Shadow a god? Because they...
or half god. I'd wondered that too.
Yeah, it's inconsistent.
Demigod, yeah.
It's inconsistent with those first 3 episodes. I mean, you have Odin, or you have, like, not Odin actually in the scene, but you have that fight on the beach in the very first episode. And how does the second episode open?
Anansi on the boat.
Anansi on the boat, and in the third you have Anubis, and you have Anubis taking the life of this woman, and you have some more great Anubis scenes in this episode actually. So the whole thing builds, and we see the background of this relationship, and I really, really liked Shadow and Laura Moon's first interactions. I thought they were adorable, and like they were well written, and they were clever, and they showed the best parts of both of them. Also, it was cool that they show how like self-destructive and masochistic she is.
I was gonna say, guys, no spoilers. I already see you saying stuff in the chat room. We said no spoilers, but I already know something now.
Oh no.
It's okay.
Oh,
I
really?
kind of wondered.
It kind of ruined for
I'm
you?
not gonna say it. No.
Oh god, now I'm the odd man out. This is the worst. This is the worst.
So no spoilers, guys, because 2 of us haven't read the book, so we're waiting to see. But
Yeah, but it's been spoiled.
it's okay.
Okay. So
But then it's funny to know it a little bit ahead and see how it falls into place.
funny for
you
you,
know?
maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I know, but it's okay.
No. So anyway,
Yeah.
their like initial whole interaction. I like that they showed her with this kind of masochistic behavior before she meets Shadow. Gives a lot of like strange depth and complexity. So do we all think that actually she is suicidal, or do we think that she is just somebody who likes to experience that level of pain? Because the way that she first has her love scene with Shadow, it gets like animalistic and slapping him, but that's like something that people just do. That's like a common thing that you hear from people. Like locking yourself in a hot tub with bug spray is not something that somebody's like, yeah, me and my boyfriend just tried that last night.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, because she stops it too. She doesn't keep going.
Right,
She
that's what I'm
opens it
saying.
up. So
Does she just like to experience pain? Is she like a Flatliners type of character?
sure. Yeah, we'll go with that.
I feel like Laura, she's...
She has some issues.
Well, not only does she have some issues, but I think that she's still trying to find herself, and it being that kind of large personality in a small town, I think, can be challenging, and perhaps she's just acting out. I also think that, like, everyone say bad things about people, but I think she's just kind of self-absorbed.
I think so too, yeah.
I think she doesn't have a lot of time for other people, or for, and then again, that's why she and Shadow gravitate toward each other. Shadow's just like, you're so bright, and I can just follow you, and she's like, yeah, cool.
I also think that like the idea, I made the reference to Flatliners because like, but she's going to that state where she's feeling like she believes in nothing. She says it in the episode several times. She doesn't believe in anything. Her whole monologue about as she grew up and she found out that there was no Easter Bunny and all those things, that was a great monologue. Except
No, I just thought it was funny of like, when she's like, well, Jesus doesn't exist. I'm like, well, other people, will believe he exists. They just won't say he's the son of God. So I
Sure.
kind of was like, wait a minute. And then also I love that when she gets to that like afterlife, which I wonder why Anubis picked her up, which I was like, I wonder why him. Because remember in the last time when we first saw him, he explained to that woman, because she's like, wait, why are you here? So I almost wanted Laura to be like, who are you? And
Right.
maybe a moment of like, why him to her? And yeah, it's the hot tub again. And as soon as she learns there is nothing, she's like, whoa, brakes, backpedal. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, you were so committed to life. There's nothing. And then when you're faced with it, she's like, whoa, hold up. Stop.
yeah, hold up, you can't touch my heart. Get your hand away from me.
That's great. It's like, fuck you.
There's a really interesting thing they've decided to do, and I'm sure this comes from the book, and it's probably one of the things that made the book such a hit, but it's the blending of like, the god characters don't have this like immortal, they can just like wave their hand and anything happens type of thing. It's like they kind of exist in a physical space. They drive a cab, or they are old, or they can't, you know what I mean? Like Wednesday's like, we're a little short on money, and you're like, how much of that is just manipulation and how much of that is just gods aren't that powerful in this world. They have some power, but they're not that powerful.
Ooh, I like this one. Alex in the chat said she feels nothing where she has to push herself to the edge of death to feel alive.
That's kind of what I was getting at. The whole
I like
Flatliners.
that.
Have you guys seen Pop
Yes.
Star? Never Stop
oh,
Poppin'? Never
I've seen
Stop Stoppin'?
Flatliners, but
So there's a character played by Bill Hader in Flatliners, or in in Popstar. He's
Yeah.
like the roadie to Andy Samberg. He's basically like Justin Bieber's like weird, creepy roadie. And they're just interviewing Bill Hader, and he's got this long hair, and he's like, Yeah, I like to do something on the weekends called flatlining. I got the idea from the film Flatliners, directed by Jan de Bont. It's where you... it's just like where you're... Anyway, long story short, I think that the Flatliners thing, I keep saying that, is, yes, I think she gets close to death because I think it makes her feel something, whereas the world is filled with things that she feels nothing for.
Yeah. And we have a couple theories on why Egyptian gods. Great theories, everybody. Chai Dreamer says maybe Anubis because of the casino, grasping at straws. Renji says maybe it's because of the cat. Victor says Laura's surrounded by Egyptian imagery in the casino, so maybe.
Right.
I mean, even the gods we meet on the road are Egyptian gods. The ones
the two. Well, it's Anubis again, and
Mr. Edis?
It is. Yeah, Edis. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% sure, again, this is new information to me, how much Laura is connected to these guys and how much that's just foreshadowing for what's about to happen. But I kind of like this idea of exploring her interpersonal relationships with everybody else. I liked how little shadow we had this episode, how much we were focusing on her
it's a good
relationships,
episode.
Because to me that says that they're going to make her more of a central character, and I think she has such an effect on Shadow that's really going to work for this story.
I loved both. So first of all, what do we think of Dane Cook? Welcome back to television and film, Dane Cook.
I love that on Twitter, someone's like, oh, do we get to see more of you? And he goes like, maybe. And so that's the one I tweeted at you guys. I was like, oh, it's great to see. It was nice to see his character because we just, had a photo. Literally, that's all we had of him before. And even the progression of how he, initiates that first touch with her was like, okay, like you can go, it's believable.
Yeah, totally.
It didn't come totally out of nowhere. I'm like, okay. And, like,
do you ever think about how so we obviously knew that was coming in this scene because we've seen the episodes so far, but like in television and film, when like a scene like that gets set up, I always find it so interesting. At what point in the scene do you just get that feeling, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen here? And why do you get that feeling? The guy walks in the door, or like there's just like a look, the way they frame it. There's something where you're just like, I know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? I think it's so interesting. No?
Carrie looks like she's thinking a thought.
She's thinking a thought?
Well, we knew it was coming, but we just didn't know how. It's one of those, like, the end of a story, and you're just, like, curious how they get from A to B. But,
So, anyway, the Dane Cook scenes, though, and then the other stuff that we get are when Laura Moon shows back up after she's gone crazy and, like, killed some fools, she ends up going back and seeing Audrey.
Yes.
And this scene was amazing.
And foolish.
Yeah.
And this I think goes into playing with Laura's like selfishness and kind of like the last person on this earth who wants to see you is the woman whose husband's dick you found in your mouth when you died. Like this is just not like tactful or intelligent at all. And she's like, I'll just go through your stuff. Oh, you made us a scrapbook. Like, girl, rude.
Well,
so self-absorbed.
You feel so bad for her, but then she also kind of has that like, I learned my best friend died and they cheated in the same breath. Yeah. And so it's one of those like, oh, but you're still like my best friend. And
right. I know. She drove her. She was like patient. She actually gave her the time of day. The scene though was just great, and it's like Kevin Smith says, dick and fart jokes are like always gonna work. But like the embalming fluid, like think about that. You're full of embalming fluid. You come out like
and all the orifices kind of blind.
God.
You're just like
she's sitting there just diarrheaing embalming fluid. And like Audrey, that actress who plays her is hilarious.
She's amazing.
She was so funny in the first episode, and she was so good in this episode again. She's just screaming, "Get away from me, you zombie whore!"
Yes.
And her range is just incredible.
You feel so bad.
Yeah. No. Well, the range from like angrily trying to keep my language clean. Initiate an intimate relationship on a gravestone to freaking out in the bathroom. And I also liked how typical of a girl scene this was, of like we're both in the bathroom together talking, like for best friends, it's nothing, like we're in here together, whatever.
You're saying that girls like diarrhea while the other girl's talking to her? Is that a thing girls do?
We spend a lot of time around, like if you've lived with girls for more than a year, like at some point it's just like an open door policy. Like what do you need? Just get in here.
You've gone to the bathroom with your friend there.
It just happens.
Yeah.
If you're good friends, not all friends. But
and she's like, just turn around. Just like that helps anything. Like she's in the shower, girl. She can see you, and then just right at waist level when she sits in the bathtub, I'm like, this is intimate friendship. This is beautiful.
Interesting. I don't think guys really like. I don't like pee in the bathroom with my buddy in the bathroom. It's not like a thing that we do.
But also, men don't go to the bathroom with other men to keep talking. Girls will.
Right.
So we don't care. We're like, whatever.
No,
We're gonna keep this conversation going.
It's a fair point. It's a fair
We have a
point.
lot to cover.
Yeah. So the conversation happens though, and like she says, she's like, I had him buried with his dick shoved up his ass.
Yes.
I've become vulgar. Anger and grief have made me vulgar.
Can I just say that I thought, okay, so in that first episode, did you guys know where she had placed his
No,
Validation?
she doesn't say it.
Wait,
she says
where?
She says I
Oh, yeah, no, because she says
says
I
somewhere
placed it
very
where the sun. I think she said something. Sun don't shine. She
I
made
thought
it
she
obvious.
left it in Laura. I thought she left
Oh,
it in
no,
Laura
no,
and
no.
not in her husband.
Yeah.
Because she
So-
tells Shadow, she goes, "Don't worry, I didn't leave it in your wife.
Okay,
I put
okay.
it in my husband." And like, it was. I don't think she specifically says I put his dick in his ass, but it's so obvious
It's so
what
heavily
she
alluded
said.
to.
Oh, was
yeah.
it? I felt like
Oh,
it
no.
wasn't with Laura, but I didn't know exactly where.
No,
I
she
missed the
totally
step
says it.
Gotcha.
I loved it. I love the reveal of that. I love that she's still dealing with these emotions of
Yeah.
like, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I'm still angry, but I miss you. You're my best friend. It's
Right.
hard.
I love the line, and I agree. Someone in the chat's like, "Get out of my head, get out of my house, you zombie whore."
Yeah, it was my favorite line.
So great.
So after this, Laura gets patched up and they do this weird thing, right? She's not alive. She's a corpse. She's like corpse bride. She's
Yeah,
walking around with no. It's like hard to even define what's going on, right? She's covered in stitches.
Yeah.
She can like
Yeah.
use her body. There's some magic at work here that's
Dude,
making her
superpowers.
something. Yeah, she's got
Right?
superpowers. She like. That scene was so rad. I was so happy that it was her that saved Shadow.
Yeah.
Right? How much
Right?
sweeter is it than that it wasn't Wednesday? That
Oh
it
my
was
gosh,
Laura
yes.
Moon? It like made me like her character. I'm serious. I tweeted a second time. Now I love Laura
Infinitely
Moon
more.
again. Like,
Yep.
I have a lot of questions about this because did Wednesday know that
Okay.
Shadow was in danger, and if so, did he know it was Laura that was he just like intended like, oh no, that situation works itself out and I don't need to worry, or was he completely oblivious and we were just epically lucky that Laura gets out of her grave at this exact moment? I'm wondering how much is left up to chance and how much was by design.
Yeah.
And then also it's kind of cool to see what falling in love after death looks like.
Right.
Almost like this idea of like it wasn't love in life, but now like it's only him. And I'm wondering if that is a play of the coin or if that is actually because of how he like his last words to her essentially. But watching her kick a guy's skeleton out of his head,
Starting
highlight
from the
of
bottom.
day.
oh,
Yes.
but yeah, it's more than that. She kicks him in the nuts.
Yep.
And that's where his spine and.
Whole column
Yeah.
just straight up.
Ladies, when you see a guy in a dark alley and you kick him in the nuts, trust that his entire skeleton is gonna just like fly out of his
Yeah.
body. That's the trick.
The Odin. Okay, well there was a couple scenes where the ravens were around.
Yeah, they were.
And I noticed that, and I was like, wait a minute. So I was wondering how early on Odin started watching him, because there was a raven over, by his house with Laura, and then while they were driving, there was a raven.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that fight scene. I wondered, because that'd be very perfect timing of serendipitous moment of like, oh good, you're here. But yes, it was so satisfying for it to be her. And
Yeah, it was so good. And that's Brian Fuller and Michael Green. I mean, that's Hannibal. The just sheer violence. Obviously, the skull flying out of the guy's head was awesome, but even just like the fist just punching through these dudes was fucking awesome.
The bloodbath, like, my God, when I don't know, did you guys watch any of the behind the scenes stuff after the event?
No.
Okay, so what looks like CGI a lot of time, no, all real, like practical blood, not real blood, they're not drawing
They're
blood
real
from humans,
people
guys.
being punched
oh
through.
my goodness.
But real fake blood on set, practical blood is
Yeah.
being used for these giant explosions, and so
Awesome.
they're trucking in. It's Tarantino-esque style, like trucking in
Gallons
gallons
of
of blood
blood.
for these great. And I live for that. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that scene was so cool. Yeah, and we haven't yet seen a Technical Boy revenge move yet, but now it's going to be against Laura Moon, or possibly against Laura Moon, and she's like a god corpse.
You have to wonder
thing.
how do you punish the dead too.
Right, I know. I love that they also just like spray painted her color back.
Yeah, well,
they
this
did.
is for skin tone, but
Yeah.
she's still gonna have funky stitches. And I wonder how often she has to go back for maintenance.
For a touch-up?
Yeah.
Because they were like, your body's not going to take care of itself.
Which is another interesting thing. These characters aren't introduced in this way in the book because we don't follow Laura's story. So it was really fascinating to see that she's the first one to interact with them. And not only that, but they're there to kind of assist and help her.
Yeah.
Put
her
them
life's
together.
journey.
We did
Yeah.
meet Anubis already, but
Yeah,
as
yeah,
a duo, yes.
Well, so the question is, at the end, when he says, when you are done, I will complete my task and deliver you onto darkness. That's what Anubis says to her. So what is her task? What is her task? When you
To
were
help
done,
Shadow?
when you were done, that's what she's come back to do. The coin brings her back. So the coin was accidentally placed there. I mean, accidentally, but the coin, that wasn't a narrative we saw happening. So she's come back now. So she's back until she's done what? She's helped Shadow do something? I'm curious what the point.
I think it might have something to do with her heart and the heaviness of it. And she needs to lighten her load. So maybe it's something along those lines.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, I don't know the timeline. That's a good question of what... I would say to make her peace with Shadow.
But that's not a...
No, it's not really a good
No,
timeline.
because people are bad people and then they die and they don't get to come back and make peace. So there's a reason she's back, and there's a reason that the coin worked, and that Anubis is not like, I found you, I'm taking you back now. That he's like, I'm going to touch you up so you can go do your thing. So that's a question I have, is what is she supposed to be doing? What's the goal?
Protect him.
Yeah, maybe.
I wonder, because I'm like, wait, he's going to this thing later. Needs a bodyguard, essentially.
Right, and as
'Cause-
you said, Joelle, in the book, she's an intermittent character. So perhaps we're going to get something similar where she shows up kind of as his protector here and there. Maybe that's what we get.
I really hope that we see her more
Few people have
often.
said protection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Sweet
and
bodyguard.
then I guess that leads to what is Shadow's end then. If she's protecting him, like, for how long? Is she his guardian angel? Is she protecting him just until the end of this, like, road trip journey? I have a lot of questions.
Battle.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really excited. I love Emily Browning. I have loved her for a long time. She's
Oh, well, apparently the purpose contains spoilers, so thank you for holding back.
Thank
So
you.
we'll make our speculations. Yes.
we can't say everything, but I love the way that Emily Browning is handling this character, somebody who's so complicated. And as you touched on earlier, Ben, like the idea of you start off so strongly kind of objective to this girl. You're like, I don't like her. Like, she's ruining things for our main character. I think it takes a real strong actress in the same episode to bring you back around to being like, okay, I get it, and now I want to follow you into the next part of your journey.
Yeah, I mean, if it's sick actrors, they'll do that for you. I also love, though, that like, this is one of my favorite moments in the whole episode. The conversation outside the casino when he's like, I owe you, let me buy you a drink. I don't want a drink. Well, what do you do? I want to go home. Then take me the fuck home. That's a great fucking line. That whole sequence was
to the point.
It was awesome.
Yes.
That whole scene was awesome.
No BS, just get right to it.
Yeah, I thought that was
Very
great.
sexy.
Yeah.
That's all I have to add.
Because she's not like, she could have turned him down. She's like, all right,
Yeah.
let's go.
She's got
have
some
you seen
sexy
Ricky?
sweat.
No, yeah, get your drink. They got free drinks inside. Drinks inside her shit.
No one is leaving Ricky Whittle behind.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
No.
He's like America's heartthrob all of a sudden.
Yes, and if America had known sooner, we'd have been on this train a lot.
He's on the side of
faster.
every bus now. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys.
People are kind of wondering, so why does she love him more now? Sorry if I say this wrong, Joelle Morticia, maybe? I think she only loves him because she's guilty about being shitty towards him.
I think more than that. I think
there's more.
I think she loves him more now for a couple of reasons. I think she saw there wasn't more to life in the afterlife. There wasn't a better answer gone. She was just going to have to go back in the hot tub. And I think she realizes now what she had in real life, the true special thing and the person that loved her. And that's why they showed us those scenes about him confessing his love to her, I would be with you in a box under a bridge, because they were really trying to contrast that for us. She was so interested in this abstract concept of what else was out there, not seeing the forest for the trees, if you will. And Shadow was just like, I would be with you anywhere. And I think in death she realizes that is infinitely more valuable than I ever could have realized, and I shouldn't have let that go. And that's
nailed it,
why
man.
I think what
I said you just nailed it. That's it. That's it exactly.
And she's just so lucky that she gets a second chance in that, because too many people are like, oh, I just didn't see it and I didn't know. Oh wait, you get to come back and make good on that.
Yeah, sweet. All right, guys, that is going to do it for our wrap up. Let's get into predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Yeah. What do you guys got? You know that you know things now.
No, I know one thing. That's not going to change necessarily what's going to happen.
This is what we're gonna do, guys, because I think this is the only thing to do. We've got a book reader, we have somebody who just had the spoilers happen, and somebody who doesn't know. And this has all been out there, so guys, if you don't want to hear spoilers right now, if you really want nothing to do with spoilers, just turn off for this particular
Spoiler alert!
For this particular
Spoiler alert!
Oh God. Okay.
And
We're
we're
not
gonna,
going to say too much, though. I'm not going to say the thing I know.
And
now
I will
that
not
I read.
spoil
Yeah,
anything
you won't say
definitively.
anything.
you sure? I mean, we can just do a
no,
spoiler
no.
section.
No.
No, at this point, I don't really think it's necessary, and I also think that they're starting to veer somewhat away from the book. So I want to
Right.
make predictions based off of what I saw in this episode,
Yes.
as opposed to what I know will happen. Like, let's keep predictions real.
Okay.
And what I like about this show and what it's doing with Laura is. It looks like before she has conversations with Shadow, but they're never really truly confrontational. And you don't get a sense of her, or at least I didn't in reading the book, of her superpowers. You know, she can do things, she's able to manipulate things, and she's able to help out, but like, she's a freaking beast here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's
Super
like
strength.
indestructible. I compared it to like a doll because she can't really be broken because they just sewed her back together. I was waiting for it. I'm like, she's gonna sew her arm on.
Yeah.
When's that gonna happen?
Yeah, but I feel like if you sew her back together, I was like, you'll punch something and your arm will just fall off again.
Yeah, it's interesting because she's so like there's not really substance, but yet she can like has so much force behind it. Which I love that a couple of you pointed out in the chat and made a comparison. And it's funny of like, so is she One Punch Man now?
Audience,
So-
yes.
Yeah.
Good catch, guys. It's
Well,
funny.
they put the pins in her bones, and they've kind of put her back together. And when a
But
god
just
puts
the
you back
shoulder,
together, yeah, but when a god puts you back together, I think you hold up for a little bit.
Maybe you got to go back when she breaks the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's the thing that I'm excited about. I think she works a lot with these gods in the future as the story goes on. I hope so, at least. And I'd like to see how they play into the larger god war, and then what part Laura plays outside of Shadow. Because, as I say, now her story's entirely tied to Shadow. She's come back to Earth, as you say, to accomplish something. I'd like it to be more than just help Shadow. I
me
hope
too.
that she gets that more that she was looking for before she died.
There's also some story clearly behind like who gets that coin, and there are consequences, I'm sure, to being reincarnate from that coin. So
Yeah.
there
Gotta
we
get
will.
some Pet Cemetery action.
Yeah, we have to find something out because it's not natural for her to come back and be a corpse bride.
Ooh, or Sweeney's gonna come back and want to get his coin back.
And that's
how
what
can
take her-
how can he get it back?
And then Shadow's going to have to fight Sweeney again to save Laura. It'd be sick.
I'm
Or
down
she
for that
fights him
fight.
to keep it.
Oh yeah, because
When
she's a
she
savage.
learns,
She's
I
a
want to
savage
know.
now.
Yeah, because it's also how is she gonna learn how she came back? Like eventually get to the discussion of like, is it gonna click with Shadow talk? Because she wouldn't know per
Right.
se. We don't know like if the coin like actually went inside of her body and she's aware of it or something like that. But maybe Shadow will. It talking to her might get to that decision, and then they'll be like, well, what does that mean? And like, well, I want to keep you and I don't want you to go away.
I think my big prediction is that when we see what happens where Shadow's talking to Laura Moon in the next episode, I think he's going to tell her that he wants absolutely nothing to do with her. And I think he's just going to tell her to get out of here. I think she's going to get out of here, and I think we'll see her come back at a later, more important time. I think the background there was important, but I think she's going to be out of the picture for a minute. I think we might get to see a little bit of what she does, but I don't think her relationship to Shadow is going to happen right now. I think she's going to, I think successfully he will get her to F off. We've already cursed, so I could have just cursed again.
This show is kind of TVMA with all the nudity, violence, and sex.
Yeah, there was no astral vaginas this episode.
Totally random comment,
Unfortunately.
but I wanted to point out because, and actually that's a pun there. I'm pretty sure she wore no bra the entire show.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, oh, okay.
I noticed
Because
that.
she doesn't really have any nudity, which was interesting. You kind of saw a little bit of a nipple when they were doing her spray body, but it was not from her head, so that could have been somebody else.
Sure.
You see her in the really tiny panties, but seriously, the whole episode is like, bing, like
Yeah.
poking out, which I just thought was interesting.
I
That they were
I
like-
agreed. It was an interesting move.
It was constantly, they're like, you're going to work like that?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You can. It just was funny of like every scene every scene.
like
They
how
must
I
have had the
didn't
AC
notice that at all.
up.
Yeah. It's
Oh
turned
no,
up.
seriously.
Carrie was aware. I love it.
She's petite and perky, like that's.
She was a sweetheart. I actually got to interview her at the premiere. And,
Nice.
Fun.
yeah, I liked Emily Browning a lot. So
She's doing a great job of like this character that you're just like, well, wait, you did this horrible thing, but we kind of like you.
Yeah.
But wait, you're.
she's winning me back.
Also,
Yeah.
real quick, shout outs to makeup because her death makeup
Oh my
looks
gosh.
so good.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And then to
Yes.
go from that to the kind of vibrant but still like painted on feel.
Yeah.
I hope they get their Emmy nods because
The-
they're
Yeah.
great.
The the comedy in this show is really killing it. The last couple episodes a little less so. The first one had a lot of it. This episode had a lot of it. Dane Cook singing while getting Roadhead was real sing to me.
That was so
Is there
funny.
a better song for that scene
Yeah,
too?
it was pretty funny, right?
God, this is perfect. It's so classic Americana, which I like how, at least from the book's perspective, we're seeing little touches of it here and there. But in the book, like, where you are in America really grounds and shapes the story and the structure. And it starts from where I'm from, which is like Southern Illinois, and I freaking love it because the nuanced details that Neil's able to pick up are really great. And so I like that they kind of transferred that to a larger scale for the road trips. The music selections are always like kind of classic folk American songs. And this one, this idea of just getting away and being happy about it, ending in tragic death, it's the perfect dark comedy.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Where can the folks find you guys?
I'm Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique, every week at blackgirlnerds.com, every Wednesday at Schmoes Know, and here Thursdays at AfterBuzz, 2 o'clock, we do Genius. 3 o'clock is Handmaid's Tale with this lady. We have a good time doing it.
Yes.
4 o'clock, 9th hour, and this Thursday, the finale of Archer starts at 9. 8 o'clock, we move the time. 8.
Nice. And my name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's Karidlane. And yes, I have Handmaid's Tale with this one Thursdays at 3. It is a fun, very fun show. Another show based on a book. And then I have Box Office Breakdown right after this at 10 p.m. And Monday is Sense8. So I know a lot of you make comparisons to Sense8 and sex scenes in this show and that.
We're on that show together, too.
And we're on that one, too. So that's Mondays at 6. Yes.
Sweet. Guys, you can find me at Ben Bateman Media on Twitter and Instagram. I'm here for one more week doing the 100 on Wednesdays, though it's over. And I also do a show called Action Movie Anatomy on the Popcorn Talk Network. And we turn 100 this week. And Wednesday is our 100th episode ever. Thank you. And we're doing 5 days of content. So if any of you know about that show or watch it, we're doing live watch along of Warrior on Monday, the 10 Rules of AMA Tuesday. We're doing Heat is our 100th episode Wednesday. And then we are counting down the 100 films we've ever covered on the show and ranking them all in reverse order Thursday and Friday. It's going to be a huge week of AMA content, so check that out.
Perfect jumping on point if you haven't watched.
It's a great place to start.
Perfect place to jump on.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all next week.
See ya!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.